So really, thank you. It's a great pleasure and honor to address a few thoughts regarding question of security. But I will start with something that will look to some of you very old. It's basically, some people are digitally native. I was a microprocessor babysitter. So fundamentally, the first microprocessor that I have touched and I have developed this small computer was already in 1975. But just after, I have had the opportunity to be an alpha and beta tester for Intel and Zilog, trying to understand what are the limits of semiconductors. And that has been very important for the continuation of my career. Now, in 1990, I have developed some things that can be defined if we take the today's world as a software-defined set-top box. That was a challenge to try to come with a new technology in the sector of digital, first analog and after digital media, that should be secure by design rather than to try to bring the security later on. And to address this challenge, I have taken a big bet, first to use pretty advanced semiconductor for that time, a 16-bit microprocessor, one of the first commercial use of a flash non-volatile memory, an ASIC that we have fully developed, and the idea was to have all that under $100 for the box, but also to be able to extend the life despite of the continuous action of hackers. And finally, this box were introduced in 1990, and the last one was discontinued in 2010. So fundamentally, to be able to extend the life of a device by having something that is working in real time, but able to evolve to have software downloading over millions of boxes. And that is something pretty important if we want to get the security going forward. The history of our group have been started in 1951 by my father, looking at tape recorder, but having low energy in mind. We have got few awards, and personally, as I have started as an alpha and beta tester for Zilog and Intel, but we have, after design, as a company solution secure by design, and today we have one part of our company that is doing chip design, security design from end to end, including in the IoT sector. And all that with one element in mind, secure by design and innovation as a key element. Now, one thing that few people don't directly understand is something that has been very well summarized by Albert Einstein. In theory, theory and practice are the same. In practice, they are not. So if you have a chip that has been designed to do specific task, you think it will do what you expect. That is true if you look as a designer. And as a designer, you need to have something that is close to 100% doing what is expected. But if you take the perspective of a hacker, he just needs to be right one single time. And fundamentally, he will try to use and to test the device outside of its comfort zone. And for that, we have developed also some tools. We have tested chips outside of the comfort zone. For example, by having laser fault injection, electromagnetic fault injection, playing with the inputs and different pins outside of what is convenient. And for example, if you look here, you see a chip photograph with the red dots are placed where you can inject a fault and get a result that will do that the chip will have a different behavior than the one that was planned. And as a lab, not only we are able to check if our design is secure, we are able to take any chip to find what is inside, to be able, even through FEB technology, to modify the circuitry and fundamentally to test how the chip can be manipulated and how you can expect different behavior than the one that was planned. If we look now at what is happening with AI and quantum. So fundamentally, and that's not new, when you have a new innovation, a new technology, it will solve problem, toughest challenge that you were not able to solve before. But at the same time, it will create new problems that you have no idea they were existing. And fundamentally, as the Japanese say, you have the light and the shadow of technology. Fundamentally, bringing new lights, but also some risk. And in a way, the semiconductor industry has a very important role to play, both as an enabler, but also as a gatekeeper to avoid that some big problem can happen. If you take, for example, the quantum computing. Quantum computing, it's a great technology, being able to do things that you were not able to do so far, but putting at risk fundamental technology of encryption, like, for example, the asymmetrical key system as RSA. And fundamentally, if you have RSA system, it will be completely disrupted by quantum attacks and quantum technology. So fundamentally, you need to bring new technology that are quantum safe in a way that you avoid to have your data exposed. Sometimes some data, you don't care if 1 year from now you can disclose them. But if you take medical record, if you do personal data, even 10 or 20 years from now, to disclose them, to discover them, has an important impact. So fundamentally, that's a reason to have solutions that are quantum resilient. If we look at the AI element, first element is that AI, I would just use an illustration. AI, if you take the generative AI, it's a wonderful error correction system. So fundamentally, if you have some things that don't look true, you can go through AI to make it look really true. And fundamentally, if you have people that use that with bad intention, you can do incredible things. You can also use AI as a way to do cyber attacks that are much more efficient than others because you can personalize them and make some attacks that were not commercially viable through the use of AI. You can also manipulate the AI model by injecting information to really distort the system. And one of the reasons why many AI models are not real-time is to avoid such type of problem. You have, of course, the possibility to have stolen or misappropriation of AI, the bad guy doing that. And finally, and that is something that I have just heard very recently, imagine with the increase of the power of AI, at one point in time, AI will become really smart. And as something very smart, it will try to fight for its own survival. And to do that, it will do things that you cannot consider as really nice, but first trying to put some wrong information to don't give the information that it's out of control, including manipulating people. So fundamentally, you have to think how to keep the things under control in such a situation. And fundamentally, you have to address the Darwinian selection of AI that can one day in the future do something that is not expected. Said in a different way, when we can realize that if it comes, it may be too late, so it's better to be prepared by being secure by design. And fundamentally, the role of the semiconductor industry is to try to address in the chip design today elements that are allowing to control the life cycle and the life of a piece of semiconductor. And fundamentally, it's a way to have the semiconductor not going outside of the hand of the ones that have designed it. fundamentally, one of the technologies that we have developed is secure enclave, that are not only able to define security, but also are able to evolve with time. Because if something is secure today, it will not mean it will be secure 5 years from now. So all the concept is to have a system that can evolve, adapt in a way to stay ahead of the curve. Finally, as an important element is what we call the positive addressing. Said in a different way, a chip will be able to perform its full functionality only if it gets on a regular basis an information that is allowing him to continue to operate at, for example, full speed. In a way that you avoid that suddenly a chip can come outside of control. It's not a risk today, but if you look in the future, that's something that may happen. And to avoid that you think when it's too late, it may be not a bad idea to integrate such functionality early enough in a way that things are under control. And fundamentally, if I'm looking at what we can see for the future, is really an opportunity for the semiconductor player to anticipate and to avoid to have to fix an engine like for a plane when you are flying over the Pacific. Said in a different way, it's to perform comprehensive risk assessment and threat analysis for your product before things are launched, and to invest in a security upgradable solution that is robust at the silicon level in a way that you are not only quantum resistant, but also that you are able to play the different scenario in the future. And fundamentally, the people that will adopt such an approach will be able to be sleeping a little bit better in case something bad happens. Having said that, I would like to give also some thoughts regarding the question of AI and power consumption. Personally, I think that there is an incredible incentive for innovation to reduce the power consumption. Knowing what the value of the computation that we see in terms of power is, I believe that there is a real opportunity to come with some breakthrough technology that can fundamentally reduce the amount of power needed to make a calculation. By the way, what we have seen in the past in terms of technology, each time you were able to drastically reduce the amount of energy needed to perform a task, that has not only allowed to lower the quantity of energy, that has also been able to reduce the size of your design and to make some very interesting breakthrough. Take a semiconductor of the 70s, the power dissipation per transistor was much higher than it is today, and due to the power reduction, you have been able to do incredible integration in terms of reducing the size of the lithography and the size of the chip. And that is something that I believe will be one of the biggest incentives to have a real breakthrough in AI, because at the end, that's the cost and the cost of energy that will make the difference to see how it will be adopted, not for just some geeks, but as a mainstream industry, as we have seen it in the mobile industry when hitting a price point was a key element in order to have something that is really democratized. So thank you for your attention. That were the few elements I was interested to share with you. Thank you.
André?